Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to share a family recipe. Well, I'm trying to recreate a family recipe. And it's a recipe that my mom made all the time when we were kids. And of course, I don't have the actual recipe and I've not tried to make it myself. And any of you guys who have watched the channel for a while, you know that I got my love of cooking from my mother. We spent hours and hours and hours in the kitchen bonding and cooking, and so for me it's my happy place. It's my comfort zone. But this recipe is Portuguese rice. The recipe that she made and traditionally calls for linguica, which is a Portuguese sausage made from pork. It's really fatty, it's kind of spicy, smoky, lots of paprika in it. Now, obviously, I no longer eat meat, so I'm not going to be using linguica. So I've been trying to find a sausage, trying to think of what plant-based sausage I could use that would give me, well, would replace it well enough. Today we're going to try and recreate that recipe. It's a family recipe. I know that Portuguese rice is obviously very common in Portugal. I would imagine that every family has their version, but this is my version of it, my mom's version of it, and I am recreating it the best I can without the linguica. Here's what we're going to use for my version of Portuguese rice. So we need some long grain rice, and I am using basmati. That's my favorite rice. You want a long grain rice, otherwise it's just going to get mushy, and I have rinsed this. The full recipe will be below the video in the show notes. We need some veggie broth. This is beef broth, vegan beef broth. If you can find a vegan version of the beef broth, that's what I would use. If not, just use veggie stock, whatever you've got. Now, the linguica, like I said earlier, is the traditional sausage that's used in this recipe. And it is spicy and very fatty. So we're going to give it a try and see how it works. I do have some extra olive oil here, just in case that doesn't give me enough oil, because this recipe does need it. And then we have one medium yellow onion diced, about the same amount of red pepper diced. This is 2 small ones, but about the same amount. A cup and a half of green peas. Now, traditionally, my mom made this with lima beans, but I don't have lima beans. I never buy lima beans. I'm not a big fan of lima beans. I used to pick them out of my rice and drive my poor mother crazy. So we're going to use green peas because I do like green peas. Then we need some smoked paprika, 2 bay leaves, about 3 cloves of garlic minced, or like 1 rounded teaspoon if you got the jar, 1 tin of tomato paste, and then some crushed chili flakes. These are optional. And then we're going to use the Instant Pot for this. You could make it on your stove as well, but you might need to add more broth. You'll just have to sort of play around with it. Because these, like the linguica that's traditionally used, is a smoked, dried sausage, hard sausage. Think of it like a kielbasa that you would get, like that Ukrainian sausage. This is not. These are soft, like a soft breakfast sausage, smoky. You know what I mean. So what we're going to do first is going to turn this onto the saute feature. And I'm going to cook these whole until they solidify, they get firmer. And then I'm going to cut them into rounds because the recipe calls for your sausage to be cut into rounds. I hope that makes sense. But if I were using one of the other sausages that I considered, I wouldn't have to do this because they were firm, but these ones are not. Okay, I've got the fan on. So I have pulled them out, cooked them a bit, pulled them out. Now we're going to put them back in. Let the little medallions brown. We're going to be deglazing the pot. But I'm just going to let those brown a little bit. and then I will pull them out and we'll cook the onions and the peppers. Okay, so I have pulled out the sausage, and now we're going to add in the onions. So we've got the onions in there. I'm going to add the peppers. I'm going to let that saute and for the onions and the peppers to get soft. So now we are going to add in the garlic. We didn't want to add it in earlier because I don't want it to burn. It smells good. And the rest of our stuff. So I'm going to add in the smoked paprika. And this is going to get dry here, but that's okay because we're going to add the liquid. And I'm going to add in the full can of the tomato paste. You want to add the tomato paste and let it simmer for about a minute just to sort of caramelize it. I don't know, it just brings out the flavor. Let's see. How hot? How hot is hot Italian? Not that hot. I think we can safely add some of these chili flakes. I've got here about, I don't know, maybe a quarter teaspoon to taste. If you don't like spicy, well, this may not be the recipe for you, or just don't use a spicy sausage. Don't put that in there. Now, we can add in our rice. Now, you really do want to rinse your rice really well. So I've got a cup and a quarter of rice and 2.5 cups of this vegan beef broth. And now we're going to add in our peas, or you can use lima beans if you like, about a cup. And we're going to add back in our sausage along with all of the juices. Okay, I'm going to take this, turn off the saute, and using my flat wooden spoon here, I'm going to make sure that there's nothing stuck to the bottom, because otherwise the Instant Pot will give you a message and turn off. Okay, and so we're adding in 2 bay leaves into there. I should probably just taste this just to see if it needs. Good. A little bit of salt. Just a little. And definitely pepper. Everything is in there. I'm going to put the lid on. Set it to sealing. And then I'm going to press the rice button. And it's going to cook for 12 minutes. And we're just going to leave it alone. When it's done, when it beeps that it's done, it'll beep here in a couple of seconds to say that it's accepted my instructions. And it will come up to pressure. Once it comes up to pressure, it will start counting down from 12 to 0. And then when it beeps, then I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to press cancel. I'm going to let it sit for 5 minutes. And then do the rest manual release. So let's give this a try. I'm going to get some of everything. I'm going to get one of these little sausages and give it a try. It doesn't taste exactly the same. Let's face it, without the linguica, it's not going to be exactly the same as the Portuguese rice that I grew up with. However, it smells really good. So hot. Holy cow. Apparently I haven't learned my lesson. So wait till it cools off a bit. It's good. It's not the same as my mom's. I'm not sure these were the right sausages for this recipe to make it like my mom's. However, this is delicious. So use whatever vegan sausage that you want. Go for one that is got paprika, smoky, Italian, spicy, definitely. And I think that it will be fine. But it's really good. I just don't think I'll be able to recreate what my mom made because, again, we're not using the linguica. We're using something different. Next time I think I will try a different sausage, and I'm definitely making it again. I think you could also, and maybe this is a better way to make it, put everything into your Dutch oven, big casserole dish, and put it in the oven. And then maybe cook it at 350, 375 for, test it at 20, 25 minutes. Give it a stir, see if it needs more broth, add more broth. You could try it that way. I'm gonna eat this for dinner. And there's lots left over for lunches for this week. And that's really the goal. So if you guys give this a try, let me know. In the meantime, in a world where you can be anything, eat good food, be kind. I love you, and I'll see you next time. You know, you can't be in every video. No, you can't. Don't argue with me.